Georgia. We welcome you to a night to celebrate. Tonight we toast to the hard work of the public defenders coast to coast. Join us in making our cocktail the Public Defender. If you didn't get a chance to get the ingredients, don't worry. Grab a beverage of your choice, and when the time comes, make the toast. But right now, I'll teach you how to make the Public Defender. So we are starting off with our infused Elijah Craig bourbon. It is infused with toasted pecans, and we are doing a 2-ounce pour of the whiskey. We are then moving over to our oleo saccharum, which is just simply agitated debonaro sugar with orange peel and lemon peel that's been agitated for 2 days. And we are doing a 1/2 ounce of the syrup. This is where you're going to get a lot of those wonderful bitters from the orange and the lemon and a little bit of sweetness to really balance out that cocktail. We are then moving over to Angostura bitters. Bitters you can find all over the world. Really aromatic. And then one of my favorites, Fee Brothers aromatic bitters, which are adding a wonderful nose to that cocktail. All right, everyone across the nation, now lift your Public Defender or the beverage of your choice. For those that are turning in tonight, we recognize the successes, challenges, and perseverance of the criminal justice system's essential workers. Public Defenders, tonight is for you. Cheers.
Good evening. COVID-19 prevented us from being together live in New York this year, but fortunately we have a great program in store for you this evening. I am so excited to introduce tonight's special guest host. He first learned about us a few months ago and has been really taking time to get to know us, Gideon's Promise, our staff, and most importantly, our public defenders on the ground. Unfortunately, he could not be with you live, but was insistent on taping a special message from you. As many of you probably have heard, while out trying to relive his 20s and partying like it's 1999, he was severely injured and now is on bed rest. But called us up and said, Illy and John, I really want to welcome your group this evening. So tonight, I'd like to welcome my special guest, Simon Cowell.
Hello, my name is Simon Cowell. Earlier this year, I witnessed one of the most incredible auditions I've ever seen in my life. And that audition was Archie Williams. Archie, as you all know, was locked up for a crime he didn't commit for 37 years. Thank God, Archie got the help he needed. He actually made the finals of America's Got Talent. And he's one of the most extraordinary people I've ever met. His story touched me so much that I was introduced, fortunately, to John and Illy, who set up Gideon's Promise 13 years ago. And I've educated myself over the past few months about the work they do. Essentially, what they do is to help support the amazing public defenders who work day and night to help these people. And tonight is a celebration of the work they do. And I'd like to thank everyone, from Gideon's Promise to these amazing public defenders, for all the important work you're doing. And now I'd like to introduce a video which explains the important work they do. Thank you all for attending.
Public defenders are essential because they magnify the voices of those ignored in silence and unheard every day at great cost and great sacrifice.
Public defenders are essential because they respect the humanity in all people.
Public defenders are important because of our values. Our values are those that help raise good people.
Public defenders matter because often they are the only thing that separates the thin line between life and death.
Public defenders are essential because they are the civil rights soldiers for future generations.
Public defenders are essential. Public defenders get to remind the machine that every person has a story.
Public defenders are essential because we develop authentic, meaningful relationships with those we are honored to represent.
Public defenders.
Public defenders.
Public defenders.
Public defenders.
Public defenders.
Public defenders are essential.
And when they ask you, how do you represent those people? You tell them what Sister Helen Prejean said. Everybody's worth more than the worst thing that they've ever done. Be strong. Be bold. Be fearless. And remember, together, we are one family. Together, we are Gideon's promise.
In American courts everywhere, what happens to little poor people on a daily basis when they are silently killed over and over and over again. And the only people standing there as the shield for them are the great and noble public defenders.
We haven't experienced the daily grind of the 3 and 4 and the 500 cases and the judges that tell you can't file a motion. So we haven't, when we talk about what we need to do to fix the system, we haven't given fixing indigent defense and empowering public defenders, we haven't given that enough its due because we've kind of taken that for granted. But what John and Illy and the lawyers that they're working with are showing us is that we can't take it for granted.
Always related to someone Gideon's promise. Always. And it's the sauce on them is just completely different from anybody else in the room. And you just know, okay, you're well taken care of. We don't have to worry about you because you're already equipped with the things that you should know. Like, it's just different.
We have this paradigm of public defenders. We were raised to think that, oh, they're getting paid, they don't care about us. And if Gideon's promise is changing the way that this movement has started to the ending, it lets us know that they too love us and they are wanting to fight for our lives.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Zork, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce two incredible artists who will be performing tonight. Grace Weber is a Grammy-winning singer-songwriter. She co-wrote and sang with Chance the Rapper and Kanye West on All We Got, the first track on Chance's Coloring Book, which won a Grammy in 2017 for Best Rap Album. In addition to collaborating with numerous notable performers, Grace is also an accomplished and inspiring solo artist. She has a new EP out, How Did We Get Here? And I'm so excited for us to hear her perform tonight. Later this hour, I'm thrilled that we'll also get to hear Wayna perform. Wayna is a Grammy-nominated Ethiopian-born singer-songwriter who left a job as a writer in the Clinton White House to pursue music. Her second album, Higher Ground, was nominated for a Grammy in the Best Urban Alternative Performance category. She joined iconic Stevie Wonder as a soloist and supporting vocalist in his live band and has shared the stage with such luminaries as Janelle Monáe, Common, and The Roots. In addition to encouraging and inspiring us tonight with their performances, it seemed fitting for Grace and Wayna to be part of this celebration because they are also champions of justice. They understand that great art and true justice are both rooted in the ability to see the full humanity of one another. In the midst of all the challenges we face as a society, we are also now more physically separated than we have probably ever been from one another, at least in recent history. And music provides a way for the same sound that resonates in my body to resonate in your body, even over Zoom, and remind us of our essential connection with one another as human beings. If you want to further experience the connection afforded by tonight's performances, I do encourage you to bid on the live auction, which includes a virtual collaborative house concert that Grace Weber, Wayna, and I, along with another incredible Harlem-based artist, Lynette Williams, will bring via Zoom to your living room or wherever. We'll have a great time, and all the proceeds from the virtual auction will go to Gideon's Promise. and support their vital public defender programs, providing training, mentoring, and community support that is so desperately needed. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Grace Weber.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Nicholas, for that introduction. I am so honored to be here with you all tonight, supporting such an incredible cause. I truly believe that everyone in this country and the world deserves to be treated with respect, humanity, and dignity. I grew up, my father is a lawyer, and he has been a public defender in the past, and so I saw firsthand what it was like for people to be represented by somebody who showed them respect and love. And I'm really excited to be here tonight supporting this cause, and thank you again to everybody here for supporting Gideon's Promise. Tonight I'm going to be singing a song for you guys that I wrote with Nicholas Zork. It's called Find a Way. And this song is about the strength of the human spirit. It's about resiliency. It's about believing in the power that we all have to find our way through struggles. We wrote this song with the intention of reminding ourselves and everyone that no matter what you're going through, you do have the strength in you to find your way through it and to find yourself again. So this song is called Find a Way. The heart is as strong as it is fragile. It won't give up without a fight. Life has a million ways to break it. Fragments of glass and light. One day you'll wonder how you're going, and I won't have the words to say. I don't know how you keep on moving, but I know you're gonna find a way. You're gonna find a way. Even the brightest stars make shadows. There are some moments when nothing shines. You wonder if all your dreams misled you, and somehow you miss the signs. I know it's hard to face tomorrow, but you can't go back to yesterday. I don't know how to find the courage, but I know you're gonna find a way. I'll walk with you until the light that's burning low starts breathing too. I'll walk with you, I'll run to you. Oh, your love is worth it. So keep moving, keep moving. Oh, it's worth it. Keep on moving, yeah. The heart beats with hope and disillusion. You hear it singing through the pain. The heart doesn't need a silver lining to somehow see past the rain. I know you're wondering if the struggle is really worth the price you pay. See, I don't know how you keep on moving, but I know you're gonna find a way. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you again for being here. Again, it's such an honor to be here with you all. So coming up next, we have a tribute video to the amazing civil rights leader and activist Congressman John Lewis. I had the honor of meeting John Lewis a few years ago when I was in DC for Arts Advocacy Day, and I got to talk with him for a few minutes, but even being in his presence for a few minutes was life-changing. He is someone who I know we all look up to for his leadership and his courage and his bravery, and he has changed the world through his work. So please get ready to tune into this beautiful video honoring the incredible Congressman John Lewis.
Arrested a few times. I went to jail 40 times during the 60s. And it was lawyers, unbelievable, courageous men and women of the bar that came to my rescue. They defended us. They filed briefs. They stood before judges in small towns, in the cities, in rural areas of the American South. And it hadn't been for the lawyers during that period, I don't know where we will be as a nation and as a people. So I want to thank you for getting in the way, for defending those that have been left out and left behind. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for not giving in. Thank you for keeping the faith. Thank you for keeping your eyes on the prize. Thanking you for helping the least, the ordinary people in our society. I truly believe that during this period, during this time, when we hear people putting people down because of their race, their color, their nationality, their language, or sexual orientation, or whatever, you have to speak up. You have to speak out. You have to defend people. So I say, hang in there, keep the faith, and keep your eyes on the prize. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Champ Bailey, and it is a privilege to be with you all tonight. From the start of working with Gideon's Promise, I have learned a lot and have had a lot of fun with the Gideon's Promise family. Supporting this organization means you believe in equal justice and that you know public defenders are a vital part of criminal and social justice movements. Myself and the Gideon's Promise Board stands with this community of advocates because we know change is possible, one case, one client, one community at a time. We ask you to go and bid on some amazing items, from a vacation in Mozambique to art from Radcliffe Bailey to even some memorabilia pieces I have included myself. With your support, change is closer than ever before. This is the year we know we can all make a difference. Thank you.
Awesome. So I am the co-founder of Gideon's Promise along with my wife, Illy. And I'm actually just amazed and energized looking around at all of the people here. We threw this together. Public defenders across the country threw together rallies in support of Black lives. And I'm just blown away by the turnout we have here in Atlanta.
Power to the people! Power to the people! Power to the people! We always remember that what you're seeing happening in America right now is not a result of great civil rights attorneys. It's the result of the people and our power of remaining in the street. Unprecedented for them to arrest 4 police in Minneapolis, 6 in Atlanta, and it's only because you all remain in the street. We need you.
The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Every single day, public defenders in this country listen to prosecutors and judges and law enforcement officers boast about all the authority they have. They get to go into our vulnerable communities and harass our clients. They get to arrest people. They have the authority to charge or overcharge or fail to charge. They have the authority to sentence our clients and not give them opportunities as second chances for restoration and giving them the resources they need to be successful in their communities, despite that other systems have contributed to them being there. But what we don't hear them acknowledging is just because they have authority and just because they have power, it doesn't make us powerless.
There's several police news reports frequently talking about how violent the city is, how violent society is, how violent other things are. But we never hear anybody talk about the violence that we as public defenders and communities see every day. Violence such as holding a man in jail pre-trial under a bail that he cannot afford. It is violent for a man to miss the birth of his child because he couldn't afford to pay a $10,000 bond. It is violent for a man to have to take a conviction because he doesn't want to wait a long time for trial and he needs to get back home to his family. Okay? To put food on the table. That's violence. Violence is anything that performs harm. We are engaged in a fight that many will compare as David versus Goliath. But I say this to you. Public defenders in this fight are not David. The communities that we represent are.
And public defenders are some of the fiercest protectors of our constitutional rights. In fact, of one of the most precious rights of all of ours, and that's liberty. Public defenders fight so that we can all be free. In a system that is quick to condemn, cast aside, toss aside, lock in cages, kill, public defenders are there to remind us of the humanity, to restore human dignity, and to demand that Black people in particular deserve to live full lives.
And when you speak up for your clients, you take their voice. You scream for those who can't talk on their own behalf. You scream for the voiceless. You are the shield for the defenseless. We stand in solidarity together as public protectors and as you and as a community. Thank you all.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
I want to thank you for the sacred and noble work that you do day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. With very little funding, you do it because you believe in the work and you believe that all of God's children have dignity. Dr. King used to say that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Public defenders are bending that arc and turning that wheel every single day.
Denali said that none of us are powerless.
powerless, and that's true. So that means not only should you speak up when you have a photo op, an IG opportunity at these protests, but when you are in private meetings and in spaces where people are speaking violence against our folks, we need you to speak up.
What if 2020 isn't canceled? What if 2020 is a year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so scary, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. A year that screams so loud, finally awakening us from our ignorant slumber. A year we finally accept the need for change. Declare change. Work for change. Become the change. A year we finally band together instead of pushing each other further apart. 2020 isn't canceled, but rather the most important year of them all.
I am so moved and so honored to be with you all tonight celebrating public defenders. I want to tell you a funny story because as I was preparing for tonight, I shared the video of the public defender cocktail. And one of the public defenders I know sent me a message through social media, noting that part of the public defender cocktail was a syrup called oleo saccharum. And it had been agitated for 2 days. And she said, how appropriate is that for public defenders, that there's a syrup agitated for 2 days? We go through life agitated. And I thought to myself, we do. But everyone who cares is agitated in this moment. How sad would it be to not be agitated? I feel blessed to be surrounded by people agitated into action in this moment. So I watched that video and I think back to June 8th, when public defenders in Atlanta joined hundreds and hundreds of public defenders across the country to show the communities that we care about and serve that we stand with them. The nation, millions of people across the nation were moved to be awakened. They were moved by cell phone videos and CNN footage and voices calling out names and saying Black Lives Matter. And we wanted to make sure we stood with our communities in that moment and in that space. But more than that, we also thought it was critically important to stand with our communities in those spaces where no one's looking. Devin talked about the invisible violence in courtrooms that happens every day. Every day, public defenders stand with people who are subjected to violence when there are no cell phones, when there's no CNN, and when there aren't voices calling their names. Public defenders uniquely occupy that space. Public defenders are the only people there to interrupt that routine violence. Public defenders understand that the violence that happens to communities outside of the courtroom is intricately connected to violence in the courtrooms that in the courtrooms is where so much damage is done to people, to families, to children, to communities, and public defenders are the ones there to address that violence. And it so often goes unnoticed, but public defenders are undeterred. Since this pandemic hit, public defenders have stood up to judges and prosecutors and fought when the Constitution was violated to get people out of dangerous prisons. They have helped well-intentioned judges and prosecutors who maybe have come to accept and normalize injustice, see the human beings that are behind the case files, and in doing so, got many of those people out of COVID-infested jails. But inevitably, they would hit brick walls. Inevitably, they couldn't get people out who desperately needed to be out, to be home with their families, and that takes a toll on public defenders. And that's where Gideon's Promise comes in, because when public defenders feel beaten down by the injustice they witness every day, Gideon's Promise and you, our supporters, give them the support, the community, the inspiration they need to keep pushing back. You know, we've been talking about mass incarceration for a number of years, and public defenders are often left out of the conversation. But we understand that you can't tell the story of mass incarceration without telling the story of public defenders who don't have the support they need. When public defenders don't have support, there's no one to shine a light on the cheating that happens in the legal system. When public defenders don't have support, there's no one to amplify the voices and tell the stories and share the humanity of people who are routinely discarded. For 13 years, public defenders have been yelling and screaming and telling those stories in the Gideon's Promise community. And they couldn't do it without you, without supporters, without people reminding them that if no one else is giving them applause, you applaud them. If no one else is supporting them, you support them. If no one else is telling them they're doing good work, you do, and you do it every day, and we thank you. So I want to close by saying this. Thank you for joining us for an evening of celebration of public defenders. More importantly, an evening of support for the people that public defenders serve honorably. And on behalf of Gideon's Promise, the hundreds of public defenders in our community and the tens of thousands of people that they represent, thank you.
My name is John Mapp, and this lovely lady is Jackie, my wife, and we're here to help out the Public Defender's Office and tell my story. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. You know, we always say it's like two households. It's the one that you live in and the one that you go outside to. So basically, it's like sometimes you are what you see. So in Brooklyn, in the late 70s and early 80s, you know, when you hit the streets, you know, you look up to certain people and, you know, everybody's doing wrong and wrong is right when you don't have no understanding as a kid. When I was younger, I lost both of my parents at 14, 15 years old. So I had to learn to fend for myself. And when I learned to fend for myself, instead of doing the right thing, I was doing the wrong thing. So my life turned out the way it did. When it hit it was like people didn't know how to really take it because, you know, we're in the prison. So we're basically going, it's not here, it's not us, it's the officers. You know, so for a while, before all the restrictions came down, it was like business as usual. But a couple of people started getting sick. So it was coming through visits, in the offices. So we ended up locking down in March. So we was basically locked in for like the first 2 months. And now during this locking, you gotta remember you have no movement. So, like me, my bones started stiffening up. I got my knee right now, I got arthritis in my knee and my back, basically from keeping still with no exercise. So, what usually happened is, as the months went by, then it was like, okay, you're in the showers every other day, you just use the shower, you have to use the shower, and get on the phone, and use the email in 2 hours span. So it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it was 2 hours. You know, a lot of stuff, you know, life has changed in there. And, you know, it was no information. Like, we had to figure out what happened to certain people. Like, they had a couple of closed units. And what they was doing was taking the guys that was sick, and they was sliding them to the unit. But at the same time, they was taking the guys that was going home and sliding them to the unit that for the 14-day quarantine. So we don't know if you're going home or if you're quarantined. So it was a lot of things that we didn't know about. Especially when you're in prison, it's always something. So you have to adjust to something. But at the same time, we was all keeping our distance. Like, only one I would be around is my cellie, because he's in the cell with me, so I know he's okay. Everybody else, they're like this, and keep your distance from them. But you talk to them, but you kept your distance from them. So when people use the phone, they're just bringing disinfectant, putting socks, you know, stuff like that, trying to protect themselves. Couldn't see your family, you know, and bottom line was you just couldn't see them. It wasn't enough for debate, you know, it wasn't enough for discussion. You know, the jail was locked down, and lockdown was locked down. Pro bono cases, they was picking up cases. It just so happened, I get Mia Ginsburg. So she reads my motion, and for some reason, it was like it just felt right, you know. I felt a compassion, and the first thing she told me, she said, "Mr. Mapp," I said, "Well," she said, "You know I can write." I was going good because I need a lawyer. So when she put the motion together, it's the stat she found, and she filed that for me. And that was real big, because usually people just give up, you know what I mean? You got a bunch of stuff, especially with public defenders, y'all got 10, 20 dudes on your case file, probably for this particular issue, and then you got other guys that you're going to court for. So, you know, it was like really a challenge, but she did that for me, and that was real big of her. I'm terribly humble, and I smile every day, you know, and I appreciate a lot of things. This is my best friend right here. Me and her we fought for the longest. You know, we grew up together, you know. Now we just, you know, we cool, you know. I owe Mia everything right now. There's nothing I want to do for her. You know, if she asks me to do this, I'll tell her when you need me. Because at the same time, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be sitting in front of this camera right now. They don't make them like Mia, man. If you had 20 years, man, they'll have to pay y'all more money. Yeah. She's a fighter, you know? She's a fighter.
Whenever you're sitting there and you're looking in the face of another human being, because that's what our clients are, they're human beings, you learn so much more about them than what's in a police report or than what some prosecutor or judge has said about them. I think, unfortunately, the system is designed in such a way that allows other people not to recognize the humanity of our clients.
Anybody can do a lot when you have a lot of resources. I think it really takes somebody special to take the challenge on to do so much with so little.
It's about fighting against the ordinary injustices that the people I represent face on a daily basis. And so issues like bail and sentencing and the lack of public defender resources, those have become ordinary. Fighting against the injustices on a daily basis, that to me is a way to actually give the autonomy and the agency and the power to the people that I represent.
I've never seen such a level of creativity in trying to make sure our clients are not alone. People were resorting to writing a letter to every single client saying, here is how you can reach me. They walked their clients through how to get on Skype, how to get on Zoom.
Proximity is more than just standing near someone. It's getting to know someone. It's getting to understand who they are. It's getting to understand what they want out of life. It's learning the skills to tell their story. We quite literally can't do that without public defenders.
Hello, everyone. This is Wayna. I'm so sorry that I'm having a problem with video, but if it's okay, I'd like to continue to share this song with you. It's such an honor to be here, such a joy to celebrate you. You are easy to honor and easy to love. La 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 do 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 do. No one else can make me feel the colors that you bring. Stay with me while we grow old, and we will live each day in the springtime, loving you. I see your soul come shining through, and every time that we ooh, I'm more in love with you. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, do 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 do. Thanks again, everyone, for being here and for your support for this incredible organization. This song is called The Sound of Us. It's by Nicholas Stork and Lynette Williams. What does it mean to be free when we're made to feel so divided? We too afraid to believe life is more with all of us. What does it mean to be whole? To see ourselves in one another, to learn how the notes of each soul create harmony from dust. Let the voice inside you fill the void with your melody. We aren't we without you, so just close your eyes and you'll hear the sound of us. You'll hear the sound of us. You'll hear a sound that you have known right from the start. Oh, I hear the sound in you. I hear it breaking through all of the noise that tries to tear this world apart. Oh, I hear the sound of us. What does it mean to belong? All different but in this together. Everyone has their own song, and it's one we need to hear. It seemed like we'd come so far, and now I'm not sure where we're going. But I know despite where we are, we'll sing louder than our fear. Let the voice inside you fill the void with your melody. We aren't we without you. So just close your eyes and you'll hear the sound of us. You'll hear the sound of us. You'll hear a sound that you have known right from the start. 'Cause I hear the sound in you. I hear it breaking through all of the noise that tries to tear this world apart. Oh, I hear the sound of us. I hear the sound of us. I hear a sound that I know beats in every heart. I hear the sound in you. I hear it breaking through all of the noise that tries to tear this world apart. But I hear the sound of us. The sound of you. Thank you so much. And now it's my pleasure and honor to welcome and congratulate your Executive Director, Illy Esquia.
Good evening, everyone. Wayna, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank all of you for being here. And for those of you who know me, I am Ilham Esquia. Everyone calls me Illy. And I always plan. I always script. I always make sure I am 3 steps ahead. But my team at Gideon's Promise would not let me really understand what really was going to be put into this night. And so tonight with you, I ripped up my talking remarks, my speaking remarks, and I'm coming to you from my heart. It has been an incredible evening. I thank all of the public defenders who give voice to economically disadvantaged people every day across America. Just as you heard the client's story of the gentleman with his wife, I too have experienced the system on a different side as a person who was a child of a formerly incarcerated individual. I spent 10 years visiting my father in Attica Correctional Facility. In my entire adolescent life, I was raised through prison bars. And so I say to you tonight, the courageous work that public defenders are doing before COVID, before the racial justice movement, your support is needed now more than ever. They have been doing this work before the eyes of the world have been on them. And they will continue to do this work to give voice to people who are locked away in cages every single day simply because they don't have the means to pay. And just because you come from a low socioeconomic status does not mean that you do not deserve a quality defense. I watched my father rot in prison. I watched my father when he was released from prison. He decided to live in a cinder block basement in my grandmother's house because he had become so institutionalized that he didn't understand there was no schedule anymore. It was a public defender who didn't care that introduced me to the system. It was a public defender who didn't tell the story of the impact my father's a disappearance out of our life would have on our family. But what I have learned, that the systems that crush our public defenders every day, none of our public defenders come into this work to process people into cages. They are growing up professionally in a system that has taught them that. And so Gideon's promise, and why I left education to come and do this work, is because we need a safety net. We need public defenders to care, to be committed and confident to tell the story of people like my father, who simply made a mistake just to make ends meet, but deserved the dignity of someone to stand up for him every single day and tell his story. So I thank you all for being with me tonight, to being with the artists, for being all across from coast to coast, for really listening to the stories and listening to the people who represent tens of thousands of people who are processed through this, what we call assembly line justice. And so I am so honored and humbled that people volunteered their time to give to people, so that young girls like when I was little, 5-year-old girls like me when my dad was incarcerated, that they do not have to watch their loved ones being thrown into systems. And they do know that there are heroes, there are public defenders on the ground who are there that tell them every day that they matter. I give a special thanks for all of you for joining us this evening. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. I was totally surprised. Don't forget to bid on auction items and purchase my husband, who you saw earlier, John's Rapping's book, Gideon's Promise, A Public Defender Movement to Transform Criminal Justice. If you want to know the story about these folks who are fighting in the Deep South, in the Midwest, in the West Coast, in the Northeast, you have got to read Gideon's Promise. This is personal. There is an attack on Black and brown people in this country. This is personal. If you have privilege, and I use my privilege to give back. Shirley Chisholm, former Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm once said, service is the rent you pay for time here on this earth. So what are you going to do with the time that you have left? I look forward to seeing you next year. This was so much fun, and I want to make sure you had a great, great time. But also, make sure you leave a little something in the tip jar for everyone tonight. I hope you had a great night. Be safe and be well. I love you all.